have two-time Olympian Richie Patterson, New Zealand champ McTaggart, and Nemani, right? Owner of Arizona Barbell Club. Yep, cool. Thanks for having us up, Richie, for the weightlifting and for coming on the show. Thanks for you guys. Everyone knows who you are, and you're a great lifter, but not many know your story. As to where you grew up and how you become Olympian and that. So could you maybe start from pretty early on, how you grew up and how you came to be weightlifting and stuff?
I was originally brought up on a dairy farm on the Manukau Peninsula, just out of Waiuku. Normal sort of childhood upbringing. I was a cricket player, rugby player, representing counties in my younger years.
What position?
I was a sector 5. I was actually sector 5 to Stephen Donald and the Waiuku team.
Oh, true.
Yeah. Claimed the fame. From there I went to boarding school, and I was still playing rugby, and rugby was kind of my direction that I was going in. And at boarding school I was at Auckland Grammar, which is quite a well-renowned school for weightlifting. And in my 4th form year, my 2nd year, there was a demonstration of weightlifting at school, and I thought that it would be beneficial for my rugby career to try it. Yeah, in 4th form. So I started weightlifting just the week before I turned 15, so I've been coming on 16 years weightlifting. So I lifted throughout school, and then end of school decided that that's the direction I was going to take. Did a coaching degree to combine with sort of my athletic career, with the end goal of having my own facility and my own sort of weightlifting facility and hitting where we are today, basically. Long story short.
And so what do you do now? You see a coach and run functional training, is that right?
Yep, so functional strength CrossFit, Functional Strength Olympic is the weightlifting club based within Functional Strength HQ, so we've got a whole lot of things going on here. I'm also still an athlete, obviously, so I'm still training, and my goal is to compete well at Glasgow this year. Beyond Glasgow, I haven't really thought about that. And then I'm also running seminars around the country and coaching PT, so doing a lot. And then during the week I do back injury prevention work with Watercare New Zealand and Nemani, and soon Debbie Breweries.
Alright, so before that sort of schedule, like how do you juggle your training? So I'm assuming you train twice a day, most days, stuff like that.
Yeah, so I'm here first thing in the morning, 6 a.m, 6:30 a.m. with either the rugby boys that I've got doing rugby squad, or I've got the young fellas before school, or the girls before they shoot off to work. Then once that dies down, they all shoot off, I do my training, a couple of hours, and then I'm PTing either for the day or I'm running a back injury seminar for the day. That's kind of how my day falls in. Then I'll train and coach at the same time in the afternoon. So sort of an interactive coaching role, do a lift, have a lift, which I actually enjoy. A lot of people couldn't really handle that, but I seem to be able to give feedback and keep an eye on everybody. I'm always watching anyway, so it's not hard to get some feedback or just stand up and address something and then go back to my own lifting again. And then, that's basically my day in and out. Big run.
So it would have been like probably a lot different, like growing up lifting and now working full time and stuff. Is it a lot harder, or you've sort of got used to that routine? Like, does it affect your gains? A little bit, or
so from
because you've got to work, the energy and stuff like that.
From 2006 to 2010, I was a full-time athlete.
That's compared to now.
So I was training around 7 hours a day, weightlifting, very intense. I was actually under a Finnish coach at that point, so I was spending a good 6 months of the year in New Zealand, and then once winter came in, I'd spend 6 months, or towards 6 months of the year up in Finland. Pretty aggressive, and my life revolved around eat, sleep and train. Gainz.
It's all about the games.
And then from gymnast, had all the attributes, and I was like, yes,
Yeah.
score. First athlete, very talented, and then moved on from there, and then I think most know my second athlete, Pip. Literally,
so you got the first one and the second one?
First one and second one, ex-gymnast, very talented athletes already, and now looking to apply themselves to weightlifting. So it's very hard to find that athlete that is willing to work and has the natural talent and all these attributes, and I got two off the get-go, and I'm very lucky as a coach to be able to work with such talent.
So Kev, how old are you now?
I'm 16 now.
Yeah, and you have quite a few New Zealand records, about 20 or something like that?
Yeah, I currently hold 14 New Zealand records.
And so you train twice a day as well?
Yeah. Before school from about 6:30 till 8 o'clock, and then in the afternoon from 4 to 6.
So how was that someone your age and all your mates drinking and partying and stuff like that? How was that lifestyle?
Well, I got to balance my lifestyle. Lifting is my top priority, and I just got to apply myself to that, stay out of situations like getting in trouble. So basically, I'm here, I stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
I'm always here.
Do you get some negative people? What are you doing, training and stuff like that all the time?
Yeah, I get people that say, how can you handle this without, how can you not go out and party? I'm like, I don't want to go out and party, I just want to get Gainz.
It's all about the Gainz, eh? See, today's a Friday, right? You come into the trainers and all these other kids are stuffing around and stuff like that.
Yeah, everyone else is partying.
How did you get that sort of training?
Comes from my gymnastics background. I was training 4 hours every afternoon while I was doing gymnastics, and basically when I did gymnastics, I had no social life at all. And I just kind of came here and had a bit more of a social life here actually than I did during gymnastics.
Weightlifting is probably easier than gymnastics. So.
Yeah.
When his parents asked, I said it's probably going to be a walk in the park.
Compared to gymnastics, I did a little bit of stalking, and you sort of got big dreams and weightlifting and all that. How do you stay inspired with all that and putting it out there like that, which I really admire? As a young person, old people are something that big deal.
Well, I really just idolize Richie and I just like watching his progress, and just want to be where he is in 15 years. So you understand there's going to be a big grind and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it in the end.
It's weird because for a long time, even prior to or when I was just starting out, social media wasn't around and all this sort of stuff. So self-promotion or even telling people or getting people to follow your journey was sort of non-existent. And now you can really engage people that want to follow you. It's not like you're saying, I'm bragging about it or anything like that, but there's a lot of interest in weightlifting now, especially through CrossFit and people wanting to learn about weightlifting and watching videos. So I put it out there, and I made an athlete page and all that sort of stuff, and now weightlifting's got more people following it than ever before. When I was younger and I said weightlifting, that's just how much you bench. And now with this huge following, everyone's like, what's your snatch, what's your back squat? And not what's your back squat? That's a half squat. No, what's your back squat? A full squat. And I'm encouraging Cam again to promote himself, because as an athlete, there's avenues now for sponsorship, but there's also a lot of people following Cam from around the world. He's got a good following. So.
How did you know, what stage you made it become an Olympian?
It was probably when I actually watched the 2000 Sydney Olympics, and I used to go down to Gillies Avenue, which is the local weightlifting gym, and Nigel Avery was training down there. And this is when I was learning, and I'd go down to watch him. And then all of a sudden he's on the Olympic stage, and I was like, oh, wait on, this is very achievable. And I set in process my journey to Beijing, basically. From that point, I decided, one, I it's such a progressive sport. You do a little bit of work, you get some result. You do a little more work, you get some result. You apply yourself more, and it's so measurable. Yeah. Like every kilo.
Like you're getting better on that.
I want to go to the Commonwealth Games, I have to hit these numbers.
Yeah.
I want to go to the Olympics, I have to hit these numbers. Yeah. And every training can go, I want to hit these numbers, and it can be measurable in percentage, it can be measurable in recovery days, loading, all of these things. If you get it right and you're a nutter for numbers, and you can program, and you've got a coach, and you're motivated, all of these things add up to hitting these numbers and these results and qualification.
It's quite exciting, you get PRs and you have goals for the day or whatever. What's it like backstage before going out? Is it like you just all hate each other, or like it'd be like it's pretty serious 4 years, everyone's training like.
Yeah, we're all used to that now. It's the end product it's like a theatrical show. Right. You get to see the end product.
You're up there, like intimidation, like warming up really cool.
Out the back. Say at the Olympics, I was sitting down and I had the Turkish boy opposite me, and I had the American boy beside the Turkish boy, and I had a boy from Uzbekistan beside me. The Turkish guy picks up the barbell, bang, bang, and he looks at me when he sits down, and I'm like, oh, I see what's going on.
You see that?
I see that, so I get up and I do one just as fast, maybe a little bit louder in the feet. The American guy, Kendrick Ferris, stands up. Well, I see what's going on. And it just goes round and round. And then, like, the Turkish boy gets up to about 130 and he snatches and then he just wobbles a little bit. Oh, you're out. You lost. Then I stand up and I power snatch 130, look at him, put it down, and he's just like, oh, you've broken him. And then the American guy comes out and does like 2 power snatches on him. Oh. But it is. You can break people, because when you go on the platform and there's self-doubt, game over. Yeah. And if there's an athlete trying to create that self-doubt on you backstage, like, oh, do I deserve to be here? Yeah. Then that plays a huge impact on the stage. So that's backstage, you've got 14 guys trying to break each other. Yeah. And then on stage, it's about them, and it's about their performance, and it's about show. Like, the best athletes in the world, they love to be on show. Right. That's my stage, that's my time. Yeah. A good example is like Ilya coming out for the world record. He just loves it. He
doesn't hesitate or pause or nothing.
No, he loves the attention. And another sportsman is like Usain Bolt. Yeah. He's out there and he's like, he's feeding off it. Yeah. He's feeding off the energy. But then the guy next to him's like, oh crap, I just don't want to get sassed by Usain. Yeah. And if he can instill that negativity or that self-doubt into those other athletes, he's already won half the battle.
Yeah. You notice that like some guys are like really good trainers, but then they get, not just in weightlifting, just or in the field or on the court or whatever, they sort of check it up a little bit.
It's I always say to people that want to get into weightlifting, it's very well training, but if you get up on the platform and you don't enjoy it up there, this is not going to be for you. Yeah. Because it's the people that get up there and they thrive off that spotlight. Yeah. They will be very good weightlifters.
Have to be confident.
Yeah.
Man, it took me years to understand that. Yeah. Like, as much as whatever technique or training method you're using, that's all about what you do on the platform, especially with our sport. Yeah. So it took me ages to embrace that, to really like being on stage. And that probably hasn't been until the last couple of years that I've really kind of embraced it. Yeah. It's fun, though, it's addictive.
Yeah. And you try a lot. Like, you try to get hyped up for it, you try to be serious. Yeah. And then other times you're like, okay, I'm just going to have a nice relaxed comp, and my outcome is going to be good movement, or my outcome is going to be something different than the kilos today. Yeah. So you can experiment. You can experiment with these things, and as I said, it takes a long time. I used to try and hype myself up for a competition, and I got a poor result out of it because I burned all this energy. I was sitting down like, oh, I'm going to get 170 or whatever. Yeah. But then I got to a point where I realised that I'm almost better half asleep. Like, I sit here, everyone's like, oh, really? Like the coach is kind of standing there going like, you okay? You ready to go? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm ready for it.
They'll be announcing, next is Richie Patterson, New Zealand record, and he's sitting there like this. He gets up there and smashes it.
But it's the individual. It's completely individual, and
And so, is it like, you know, with sport, it's got a history of like, I don't like to bring it up, but like drugs and all that sort of stuff. Is it, you know, do you reckon like every world champion is taking stuff like that?
It's tough, eh? Like, you know, I won't say.
I don't know.
No, yeah, it's a good, awesome question, really awesome question. You know, I won't say anything about those guys, but one thing that I've learned in the last 3-4 years is it's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
It depends on the country and their culture.
Yeah.
Some not excusing them, but some of them it's a way out of poverty.
Yeah.
It's for them to do what they can to help their family.
Yeah.
I mean, just our culture here in New Zealand, it's about playing fair. It's about being true, and that's the kind of culture that we all buy into. But you're 100% right. It would be naive to think that nothing's going on and nothing's happening on the world stage.
Yeah. Is it possible to win the Olympic medal without it, or do people do it? I don't know.
Everybody at the Olympics is on an out-of-competition drug testing program now, so it's how those countries apply those tests and all that sort of stuff. But you like to think you're on an even playing field, but you just don't know. And in New Zealand, as Danny said, we've been brought up to play fair and clean, and
it's not really.
No. And the thing is, in New Zealand, if you were to do something stupid, your name's gone.
Yeah.
Everybody knows who you are. The community is so small that there's nowhere to hide. Yeah. If you're overseas and you've got 500,000 registered weightlifters and 500 national squad, you're just a name and you're pushed out of the way and the next person's in line anyway. Yeah. It's totally different. But I'd like to think you could, and who knows? Maybe we'll have that one athlete that will come through and the drug testing will get better and that athlete will shine and that stand will come down of the cheeks and comes together on the right day. Yeah. You've got
so a bit of that mind thing and just showing.
Yeah, you can only do what you can do. So you just got to apply yourself and think that I've got to train just as hard as these guys in China and Russia. I've got to eat just as well as them. I've got to apply myself in training. I've got to think about my recovery just as much as them. You've got to be doing things better than them to beat them. So there's nothing to say that we can't do that. And now with the amount of talent coming into our sport or being exposed to our sport, your boys are a perfect example. 5 years ago, they would have never got the opportunity. Now there's about close to 100 CrossFit boxers in New Zealand that might have the rugby boy come in, that might have the little explosive guy or the ex-gymnast girl or someone that would have never been exposed to weightlifting. Now they get given this thing and someone tells them, wow, you're really talented, and they pursue that avenue. We might get some very, very high-class, world-class athletes in weightlifting within the next 5 to 10 years.
You do your own programming now?
Yeah.
Well, what does that stuff look like?
I get a lot of people asking me this question. I've combined myself.
Yeah.
I still keep to a relatively Bulgarian-style program, but scaled right back.
They just squat crazy, isn't it?
Snatch, clean, and jerk squat, and that's still what I do. But when I used to train under my Finnish coach Ari, it was like intense, like literally borderline. Like he's making me walk the tightrope daily, and I was really lucky that my body was really resilient. Prior to me going on that program, I'd done a lot of different programming, gym and macro cycles. I had an established base. My skeletal system, structure, my connective tissue, all of this stuff was well established before I went onto this Bulgarian style program. So I was lucky that I'd have that established base prior. I wouldn't recommend the way I train to a young athlete because they haven't established all of this sort of foundation where they're establishing their technique. We don't want to go maximum under a technique that's learning or mode patterns that are learning. So I do a lot of snatch, clean, and jerk and squats still, and I enjoy it because it challenges me daily and it challenges me on a weekly.
So like maxing?
Yeah, I max on Friday, but I don't. I used to go max and I'd miss, and my coach would yell at me. And it'd be at one point I was on the ground crying, 27-year-old guy, in the middle of a gym having a cry about it because I missed a jerk on 180 about 11 times in a row, and he made me go. And he said, "You're not leaving until you get this weight." accept that he had to push me to that point.
Yeah.
But now I realise that I couldn't recover from those sessions. It's like we're talking about the drugs. The Bulgarian method was designed around artificial recovery. Yeah, you thrash yourself and then a needle goes in your ass. But now I realise that natural hormonal cycles, they're like this. And when it feels good, you go with it. And when it doesn't, you step right back. And we had a Chinese coach come to New Zealand, and I talked to him through an interpreter, and he came in and showed us some videos, and we're like, oh crap, this is the Chinese national coach. So we were talking to him, and I said, look, I'm doing this programming, but I feel like I'm not recovering from it. And he said, you just got to listen to how you feel. It's if you're motivated, you'll push yourself. And you've got to realise the difference between being lazy and being overtrained or fatigued. And I was so motivated that I could recognise that I wanted to be there, but it's just not happening. So he said, just go away, go for a swim. And ride the waves. When it's good, go with it. Even if your program says stop at this point, if it feels really good, that might be one day in a month that you could hit it. So you just go with it. Don't. And then the other days when you're supposed to hit this max weight and it doesn't feel good, take it lighter and just do the movement pattern and have the outcome of sharp lifts, tidy over and over and over again. So there's an outcome of movement patterns rather than kilos. And that's kind of the method that I follow. Totally different to Cam.
Yeah. When you got Cam on, sort of.
Cam, we do a lot of pulls. Cam's got still growing, and we have to sort of manipulate his training around his body. He had a lot of Osgood ladders because he was growing high, tall so fast. So we didn't do any back squats because Cam's back squat sets his knees off. So Cam has a front squat heavier than his back squat.
Yeah, I saw that on the board. It's like 141 thing.
And he can jerk more than he can back squat. So there's all these different things. So Cam's program is during the week, very few miss lift at all. Like I rarely miss one during the week, but still good movement pattern at relatively good intensity, but no breakdown in movement pattern. And then every so often when we get close to the competition, we ramp that up again. So it's a combination of sort of different styles: German, Russian, Chinese, and then as we come closer to the competition, we go more to Bulgarian. But it's cycled, and I realised that Cam's training, his goal is to get to the next Commonwealth Games and then the Olympics after that. And there's a longer term process. I don't want to ruin him now because then you've got no athlete. So it's a long term process. There's a lot of development going on in his body at the moment.
Do you have guys like come in and like, I want to do this or that, and then like they miss training and stuff like that? Like, you want to train or what?
There's a lot of people that
like the idea.
underestimate the work that goes into it. They come in, go and make New Zealand team, and they see 150 kilo snatch, and they're snatching 90, and next week they're snatching 95. And like, oh sweet, if I keep on this progression, I'll be at 150 in about 6 months. And it goes like that, and it goes like this, and it goes like that. And like it took me from a 150 snatch to a 152 snatch 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
Grinding
and then when you hit that 52 snatch, finally, and then the week later I hit a 160 snatch and training.
True! Is that what it was? But
it's just
2 years of 150?
2 years of 150, and then within a period of 2 weeks jump 10 kilos. It's just, you just got to be patient and wait for it.
So you've had some little injuries and stuff like that. How do you keep motivated and keep along? And what do you do with that?
Keep pushing through it. I know that once I push through it, there will be end results. Those results will show on the platform. And just while I have those injuries, I can do other things that will help with my lifting. So,
what's some of those other things you can do?
When I had some knee injuries, I was doing a lot of upper back work.
squat now.
Do you like, you know, you said Richie, one of your role models. Do you have other ones or things you read or stuff like that?
One of my other favourite lifters is Richie.
Yeah.
I just love how technical he is, and just watching him is really impressive. And just watching his videos really motivates me and keeps me going through trainings.
And you run barbell club. How's it been with the revolution of CrossFit? It's been good for the club.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Love CrossFit.
Yeah.
Love it. I was just, I was talking to you before, like my experience with CrossFit started in 2009.
Yeah.
You know, we went on holiday with the wife to Hawaii, and I was looking for a place to train.
Yeah.
And we ran into CrossFit Oahu, and just went from there. You know, came back and started with CrossFit New Zealand when they're out with the old place with Daz and Taz and Pat.
Yeah.
Man, funny story with Pat Barber. Hey Pat, how's it going? Because I wanted to do an intro, you know, trial. I wanted to do a trial, and Pat was taking me on my trial, and I was gobsmacked. I was like, oh, it's Pat Barber.
Right.
So he didn't know I did weightlifting, you know. So he's taking me through the movement standards. He's like, you know, can you do a squat? I was like, you know, the squat kind of thing, you know. He's like, oh, can you do overhead squat? And I was like, overhead squat, you know. But I was just too, I don't know, it was just, you know, showing him a bit of respect. Didn't want to tell him I was weightlifting and stuff like that. So
just do what you got to do and stuff.
Yeah, he thought I was sandbagging him, you know, like trying to catch him up. I was like, no, I wasn't doing that. I was just, you know, I was like, oh man, it's Pat Barber, he's taking me through, you know. So, you know, had a massive positive experience with CrossFit, and it's been great for weightlifting.
Yeah.
You know, it's been great for weightlifting. Just, you know, touching on what Richie was saying, it's exposed a lot of people that wouldn't normally get the chance to weightlift, you know, to participate in the sport. And that. Yeah, it's a great sport.
How you going for time?
What's the time?
4:30.
Run for a little bit longer.
Yeah. What do you think about deadlifts? Is it those or not really?
The last time I did a deadlift was about 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
No, I lied. Last time I did a deadlift was at regionals. 21:15.9, and I finished as the team decided we finished. So 2 people finished the workout by the time I finished my workout. It was quite embarrassing. But yeah, we don't do deadlifts.
Just taxing?
No, it's just the positional work. Yeah, well, it's not relevant to what we're really trying to achieve. So we do a lot of pulls, and pull. A clean pull or a snatch pull or a stop pull or anything like that is mimicking the positions that we want to hold in Olympic lift. So we want to hold torso a little higher and back set and using our legs and hold